see ourselves. So this is the first time, so apologies for any technical difficulties, but here is 4 out of 5, and we are ready to start today encouraging life event. So let me introduce you guys quickly, and then you're going to introduce yourself, if that's okay. Okay, so Flo, she is a French and English speaker. And interrupt me if I'm wrong with anything. And you live in New York.
Yeah, I live in New York. I think it's a miracle that we're able to connect on Zoom and to share some of our energy together. I'm really grateful for you, Susa, for organizing us and that you know how to make a webinar on the big Facebook group. So it's very exciting to start this collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Still learning here, still learning. And we have Naomi. Naomi and me, we knew each other from a while ago. I even taken some seminars with Naomi when I was still taking practitioner seminars, and she's from North Carolina.
That's correct. Actually, originally from Ohio. For those familiar with the USA, I live in North Carolina now and have been doing theta healing for quite some time. Super excited to be here with you all today. And thanks, Juja, for getting us all started with this idea and talking about encouragement today, and hopefully talking about more things that will benefit everyone in the future. And thank you, everyone who's here.
Yeah.
Yes, that's our intention. Thank you. Thank you. We have Vanya. Vanya and I met in Montana.
We
did. A couple of years ago, right? And Vanya is originally from Bulgaria, living in the United Kingdom. And please.
Hi, everyone. It's so wonderful to be here in this amazing happening event, to share experience, to share stories, and basically to move forward together, as a beautiful souls in our life experiences. Yeah, thank you again for organizing this, Juja. That is amazing. Yeah, I'm just Vanya. I'm from Bulgaria. Have grew up there and moved when I was just fresh out of university to UK, and then I have been theta healer for just over 5.5, 6 years. So I'm looking forward to kind of being part of this event today.
Thank you. So so we all met in Hawaii attending the newest seminar that Vayana came out with, DNA4. So you had to become an instructor to all the seminars and have taken planes of 2 practitioners in order to qualify to even be there, right? And we started to get together and with the intention to encourage, to support, and be a contribution for our theta healing communities. And we were guided today to have the theme of encouragement. But before we start with that, I think the first thing that we wanted to talk about is the moment that we knew theta healing was the thing, right? That was for us, and when that was and how it happened, and just so you guys get to know each of us a little bit more, from our personal stories. So, Flo, please. Tell us.
Yeah, the one thing that I'm thinking, because I'm coming out of teaching 3 weeks of intuitive anatomy and then translating some of the teacher trainings. I had my schedule all crazy. And there's one amazing thing. Every time we have a theta healing seminar is we connect and we clear the space. So maybe we can take, even though Marla is not here yet and she's part of our crew, maybe we can connect to the creator and make an intention of being guided from the highest place, that everyone who's listening now or listening later to a replay, can be present with themselves and can hear everything, the highest and best for them for that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for me, when I knew that Theta healing. I don't know how I knew that theta healing was my thing. I was like 23 years old in New York City, and I went back to see my mom in France, and I was wearing a beautiful ring with labradorite. And I like to complain to my mother, she's like, I could feel it until here. And I was upset, and I was, just making a fuss, And then she said, oh, well, maybe you're sensitive. So maybe when you go back to New York, why don't you find somebody who heals with the stones? And then she studied medicine. And so she has a lot of natural, books and remedies. And so she gave me a book about crystals. And then I did what my mom told me. I found somebody who healed with stones, and they said, oh, maybe it'll be nice for you to take a class. So it was just so, in 2015, Vienna came in New York City in 2005, 2006. She taught the advanced DNA class, and I liked Guy because he was a farmer, and I come from a farm. I was like, these are my people. They didn't know I existed, and I took the intuitive anatomy, and then it was nothing for a while. I was having fun living the struggling artist life in New York, and I was really struggling with my money. And then there was Eric Brimmett and Tara and Sarah created a little center. So then there was a practice group. And so for me, I'm so grateful for this event, because I really value community, because that's what helped me. So I knew that I had friends there. I had like-minded people. And for me, the click was the 7 planes training, because it was really a philosophy that just made sense to me. And even though I was very much focused on my artistic pursuits in New York City, I was like, well, this material. I mean, I have such a love for the knowledge of theta healing. It's really exciting to me, and I'm so excited about the development. I feel like I've been waiting all this year for the technique to be what it is today. I feel like it's sci-fi. It's so performant. It's very distilled, and it's just it's a great tool. So in that seminar, I realized, okay, I can be going in the direction of being a professional in that field, but I wasn't at all thinking that I would teach. I was even shy about doing sessions, and I was like, maybe the session works just because I'm in my teacher's office. Like, it just took a long time to get me where I am now. So yeah, so it was different steps. And then just like when we are in classes, there's moments of discovery and consciousness, and it's very personal when it all comes together, but there's definitely a timing for us figuring out what we're up to. Yeah. Thank you for the question.
So 18 years.
Yes, I'm still young. You see, I don't have makeup. I have wrinkles, but
I think she started when she was 10.
I was a kid. I started teaching professionally in 2016, and I'm still growing. It's something, I working in the entertainment field in New York City. There's this idea that they give you that you can have a parallel career. So you don't have to put a lot of pressure on the work that you do, because you get so much out of what you give. Like, you receive a lot from doing the work and being in service. So it's still the way that I'm growing. So it's not like it's a business, and like it comes in the right time. So 18 years has been 18 years of flow, becoming a better flow, and theta healing was with me on the journey.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Naomi, what was your introduction to theta healing, and when was it for you, when you were like, ta-da, this is it?
Yeah, so to reflect on what Flo mentioned with regard to age. So I feel like with every basic DNA class and the DNA activation, I feel like I get younger all the time with this work. The meditation has been wonderful. My memory's improved, gotten much better when the group consciousness belief tells us all these things are supposed to decline as we get older, especially memory. And And without even working on it, my contact lens prescription is weaker now than what it used to be. So this work is amazing. It's so wonderful. And I've been 39 for over a decade, well, anyway, anyway, a long time now. So started with ThetaHealing. I was looking into finding ways of getting law of attraction to work as well in every area of life as I thought it should. Because when I found out about it, it was working great in some areas. Other areas, not so much. There was real movement, real change, great change in some areas of life, but some were just seeming stuck. And to me, having, read The Secret, read Vienna's publishers, Louise Hay, her book, I Can Do It, and other books that she has out, I felt like I had a really good understanding of this. And it made no sense to me that everything was not changing equally in every area. So I looked into what keeps the law of attraction from working well. And what I found is subconscious blocks. So unlike a lot of folks that are looking for answers for their physical health, that I'm so grateful to the Creator that that's not been a challenge for me. However, getting my life to work in all areas, that has been a challenge early on, especially, which led me to law of attraction. And so from there, looking into different ways, like, for example, hypnosis, other types of energy modalities. This was around 2010. And then I found ThetaHealing that year, got a session, and I saw that that was the way that worked best and most effectively for me for changing and getting through those blocks. I kind of forgot about it for a while because it had gotten so many things to work better in all areas. And then a life challenge came up and I decided, okay, I'm going to go find a theta healer where I live, get a session. Well, I didn't just end up with the session because they told me that they had a class that weekend. And with what was going on in my life, they told me that, I could learn to do this work for myself and it could change a lot of things going on in my life. So that was 2012, and I have not stopped taking classes, the practitioner classes, then each instructor class as it comes out, and it has changed. I'm so grateful. So many things in my life that were not working well. And I will never pretend like I've got it all together totally, like everything is perfect. No. For total transparency, no, because we all still have things to work on. However, are things a lot better? And I'd like to say also the biggest fires have been put out. So the changes have been amazing. I have had some miracles happen with weight issues, it wasn't really an issue per se, just not feeling completely happy about those certain spots and then asking Creator to change it. I've had miracles with that, which I was grateful for this year also, after being in the winter weight stage for longer than I'd like when y'all saw me in Hawaii. So Creator's been helping with that as well. And also some neck and back issues. Again, never really had, thankfully, any health challenge. That was something I was able to witness healings from Creator and see some real change from being in pain, like real pain one day, to not having any pain in a few days. So this work is amazing. And I'm so grateful to Vienna that, during the COVID times when it first, shocked the world, I knew because of what I'd learned in ThetaHealing that I'll be okay. And that we all have this connection to the Creator, this capacity to ask for and witness healings. And I knew that health is not going to be a challenge for me during these times. Of course, we still need to be aware, mindful, and take good care of ourselves and precautions and everything. I'm also super grateful that I have work that I truly enjoy, which even like Flo, also doing artistic work. However, mine is in jewelry and working with crystals. And I thought that was going to be as good as it gets. But no, from that, I shifted into ThetaHealing. And that just took over. Because truly, it was even more fulfilling than getting to make pieces of artwork that people buy, which I loved, and I'm so grateful for that. But getting to see people's lives change, that's even more powerful. And thank you.
So true.
Thank you all for being here to listen and for starting on your path as well. And imagine what miracles might be possible for you with this work.
Wonderful. Thank you, Naomi. And you didn't mention how your connection with animals
Oh, yes,
is.
thank you. Well, I talked a lot, but another thing I'm grateful for with Theta Healing, and thank you, Shusha. I mean, it's done so much. And yes, animals were definitely a huge motivator for me in continuing with those first few classes. Because at the time, my cat in her last life, he had some health issues. And with Theta Healing, I would practice working on him. And Theta Healing just helped so much for him to be able to enjoy life through his last days. Also for me to be able to see when he was actually ready for his transition. And then at that time, to be sure, with animals, they tend to be more instinctive and not maybe getting stuck like people do. However, just for me to be able to witness a soul connecting to Creator was tremendous for me. And also dealing with that grief, with that loss, Theta Healing made a huge difference in my life for that. And for that, I'm also super grateful, and also being able to recognize the soul, that brilliant cat soul coming back in another body. So that was another huge miracle. Thanks for that reminder.
Thank you, because when I think of animals and animal healing, I always think of you. So Vanya, hi. So please tell us about a little bit your Theta Healing journey, and when was it when you were like, this is for me.
Such a wonderful stories. Thank you guys for sharing your experiences. That's so amazing. For me, my journey started sometimes around 2015, 2016, when I started getting drawn into energy kind of things. And I actually attended sessions of constellations, for those of you that may have heard this modality, but it was just a session rather than like becoming a teacher of anything. But this was the first time when I actually, probably the second actually, because when I was little, I felt some kind of energy from a healer that was like, what the hell's happening? But that was the second time when I actually experienced when the energy goes through my body, and I was like, whoa, what's happening here? So about 2 years after, sometimes around 2017, end of it, 2017, I started looking on my walk. I started thinking about, okay, and I already been looking into YouTube about like how your subconscious, if you change your beliefs, that may change your reality. And I was like, no, I'm a human. I act and I change my reality. That's not possible. But let me just think about it. Let me just hear it. So I started listening often a channel called You Are Creator, which is quite cute, 5-10 minutes videos with visualizations. I actually made it as a my morning routine to go to work in the car, kind of a listen to. So I kind of got quite used to it, like the mindset starts shifting this way. And one day, as I was walking on my morning walk, I was thinking, okay, how about I found a way of how I can influence through my thought process, my physical body. So I already heard about theta healing from someone, and I was like, okay, let's see. And I Googled, theta, weight loss or something. And then Anna Kidney came along, her video. And as soon as that lady starts speaking on that video, I was like, oh my God, I need to see her. But it was like a momentum where it's like, I need to see that woman. And I started looking at her website. I saw like the school that she had at the time. And yeah, in a week time, I had a session with her. She was still doing in-person session in central London. And after the session, I was just like entered a new reality, I think. It was So nothing has changed like from one day to another, but I knew that something has changed. That was like, I was spaced out. I knew that something. So within like a week or two, I actually attended basic advanced and you and significant other within 3 weekends. So that was like a huge download of information, awakening, considering that I was like an energy baby. Like I didn't know at all that I can actually have psychic abilities, because I thought you need to be born with those. As in Bulgaria, we had this amazing lady called Vanga. She has been through a lot. So my understanding was like, if you don't have it from birth, you just never have it. So at the basic class, being able to start visualizing and seeing things, and people actually confirming, oh my God, how do you know that? And I was like, I have no idea. And oh my God, that's amazing. So you see, because I was coming from the human world in a sense of like, I have my job in the corporate office, and then this kind of entered my space, and I was like, okay, am I a psychic or am I a human? What's going on? So there was quite a bit of a friction between, oh my God, everyone thinks I'm crazy if I talk to them at the corporate world about angels and, you know, talking with spirits or like God. And it was a bit of a challenge at the time, because I couldn't reveal part of me. And at the same time, I needed to hold on to the image of this kind of, as I've been working closely with the senior members of staff. So it was a bit of a challenge for me to understand what do you do with that information. So I said, okay, I'm just gonna leave it for a bit until the spring of the year next, when I met a beautiful kind of a group of people that it was okay to talk about angels with them. And we would have that beautiful dances on Sunday mornings on the grass, bare feet, an experience that I have forgotten for so long. It was been like since a child, I haven't been experienced this beautiful. And shortly after, there was that little child that needed help. I remember walking in the hospital. Several weeks prior, my dad passed away, and I remember walking in the hospital then when he was in a pretty much critical condition. And I remember feeling that I don't have anything to do. I was relying on the doctors to save him or like to do something about him. But on that day for this child, I entered the hospital, and I remember thinking, okay, I have that knowledge about what I've just learned. I know that I can help. I know that I can change things. So it was a turbulent several weeks. Unfortunately, the child decided to, you know, move into the spirit world. And at that moment, I felt like I never wanted to be in a position where I haven't done my best, because there was a feeling inside of me that if I knew more, I would have been able to make the change better. Despite of the fact that at the moment I realized that I need more information, I need more, I kind of start actually bringing healers in. So I brought Anna Kidneys, Tyler. I actually emailed Vajana team, because on her website there was a note where she sometimes does healings for children like in a critical condition. And I actually felt the healing when she did the healing. I was like, the moment she started, I was in the other side of the world. My tears start flowing down my face, and I felt that amazing love going towards that child from Viola. I don't know how that happened, trust me, to this day, but like for 10-15 minutes I was feeling these waves and waves of love flowing through. So at that moment, basically, I signed up for 5 new classes: intuitive anatomy, disease and disorders. You know, all of it started flowing, and it was so beautiful that at the time when I started, Anna Kidney had this amazing school that was constantly flowing with classes, so they're available for you for when you need it. So now she kind of changed slightly, but it was so beautiful to have that support. And the amazing people that I met at these classes is just it's just amazing. These souls, and with many of them we're still friends. With you now, you know. So it's not so much I start understanding is not so much what you're going to learn during the class only. It's about the energy. How do you exchange? What do you move through when you do the sessions? And the connection with the other souls. And it's an experience rather than what I used to think about class. Okay, I'm going to learn a skill. Yes, you do that, but you do all that as well. So it was a shift in mind. And most of my, like the one that I remember was basically intuitive anatomy practitioner. I mean, all of the classes I passed through were amazing, and I can understand why the classes are what they are. As with, if you have read some of the books of ThetaHealing, in one of the book, Vaiana was mentioning how she started when her healing happened, when she healed her like aunt, and then she started healing, and people start, can you teach us? And that's how basic, advanced, and basic and advanced start coming through. And then everything started branching out because you start understanding that it was the body, so the intuitive anatomy, or when you start seeing your system and the belief system around that unique physical system that you have, or whether that's the earth, the earth class that holds. So it's like kind of bringing the complexity of the beings that we are into like a small chunks for you to be able to explore further, and then the whole changes the whole in a sense. Or for example, the family ties class, that was quite an interesting one in relation to the DNA, etc. But yeah, every class as it came along, as Vaiana had risen to the challenge to be able to download it and channel it, it kind of became us to be able to. So yeah, intuitive anatomy for me was the class I entered the intention of.
I'm sorry, but we are not talking about the seminars yet. We're gonna talk about the seminars in a minute. Sure. Before you,
Sure. Okay, I'm gonna
talk about all the seminars. So basically, your moment was when that child was healing, and you started taking seminars with the group of people.
Well, at the time I was thinking it was a child, but I realized that I was on my path of healing myself. So,
of course,
although the issue was that actually it was me who was needing that healing, not someone else.
It's always like that.
In a sense, yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Okay, so quickly I will also share. So I had a girlfriend who had cancer. I was kind of involved in her healing path, but then I moved to Florida and we weren't connected anymore. And when I next saw her, she looked radiant and better than ever. I was like, what happened to you? Last time I saw you, you had 1% to survive and refusing chemo and radiation. And now here you are shining. So I was like, I want some of that too, And she was like, yeah, I found ThetaHealing and now I'm an instructor and would you like to try? And we were in a park and she gave me a quick little session that I can't really remember, but I did cry a little and I felt something, but I was like, I didn't even know what this was. But I already signed up for basic. That was starting in a few days. And 2 weeks later, the advanced. And in the same time when I was attending the basic, I had a friend who had collapsed and he didn't have air. By the time the ambulance came into the building, there was 22 minutes of no heartbeat and no oxygen. So by the time they took him to the hospital, they said he has no chance, he's brain dead. And they kept on convincing the wife to sign over so they would get, the organs at least. Well, I started working on him, but I only done basic, and slowly but surely I was seeing his soul coming back and maybe not leaving. And long story short, he woke up after 30 days and he is out and about even now, walking around. And I just remember because I ran into them a couple of days ago accidentally. And right after advanced seminar, I was having a lot of issues, mostly financial and relationship, but the big problem with me was a lower back issue. I think I had like, I can't remember the name. Anyways, so it was bad. My children had to pull me out of bed like this. I couldn't even get up. It was hurting to breathe, to laugh, to exist. And after the advanced seminar, I made a commitment to do belief work on myself an hour or two a day. And I think after the third day of doing belief work on myself, I got to the true root cause of what the contribution benefit from me was from that, and I healed myself. So I was like, well, this is it. This is for me. If I can change this, I can change anything. It took me years and years to heal myself and all areas of my life. So it took me like 5 years to become an instructor because I felt like I needed to heal myself first in order to be more credible. Just a belief system, you know. And that's how my journey started. And Marla is here. I'm only seeing her. Here she is.
Yay.
So just on time. Hi, Marla.
It's good to
Marla
see
is
you
joining
guys.
us.
Thank you.
Hello.
Forgive me for running behind. I had something kind of urgent come up this morning that I didn't expect. So thanks for being patient with me. I'm so glad to see you ladies.
You didn't miss anything other than, you know, us introducing ourselves. So that's what I'm going to ask you to do as well. Other than Marla, we even took Intuitive Anatomy together 6-7 years ago. So we know each other for a long time now.
Yeah.
And you live in Maryland, United States.
I do.
And the question was, what was the moment when you really knew that Theta Healing was for you, and how did you get involved?
Wow. I knew in 2015, I was working with a business coach then, who's still one of my dearest friends, mentors, and coaches, Victoria Rader. And in 2015, I had a sales and marketing company in the wellness industry, working with physicians, and was doing training for that company all over the world and speaking and things. And I hired her to help me take my business to the next level. We were usually in the top 20 in the world in what we did, and I wanted to be in the top 5 at least. So, and it was funny. I thought we were going to do sales training or something, but she ended up doing Theta Healing on me for all my trauma. So there you go. Anyway, I got happier and made a lot more money. So it was all good thing. In 2017, I ended up leaving that. And I had several years where, because of all the different things I had done with business people all over the world, I had a lot of people asking me to go into coaching and consulting myself. And so in 2017, I left that. And that was when I actually took my very first basic class, because I thought the technique was so powerful. I wanted to learn it so I could use it with this new business. The funny thing is, when I took the basic class, I didn't even know there was anything else. I didn't know there were like 40 other classes or that you could get a certification, or, you know, I just knew I wanted to be licensed to use the technique. And so when I was in that basic class, the other girls were all planning out when they wanted to take the advanced class. And I'm like, oh, cool, there's an advanced class. And so I think I just kept taking a journey that was very guided, but it's been amazing for me. I have loved every minute of it. I love the body of work that Vienna has delivered. It's just incredible. The whole Steibel family and Theta Healing organization is just phenomenal in their support and their love for us and their encouragement. And I've just met some of the neatest people from all over the world. and I'm able to really help my clients make these huge quantum leaps and quantum jumps through using the technique. So I'm a huge fan, and I'm happy to be here sharing with you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So here we are, 5 of us coming with the intention to help and to support and to inspire. And what should we talk about next? The seminars, or which seminar was the biggest, gave you the biggest shift that you can remember, or what challenges you faced along the way? Well, whatever is you're guided to talk about to encourage our audience, because the whole reason for this event to be called Encouraging is that us as instructors, we see people sometimes taking a basic and an advanced, and they're just giving up. You know, like, this doesn't work for me. It works for everyone else but me. And we also faced some challenges. It wasn't that easy for us either. So I'm curious to hear about your stories. Flo, again first.
Thank you. Yeah, that's fine.
You're on the top. You're on the top of my
I
screen.
can be brave and set the tone for, and then you guys can, you know, bring me back into your serene, peaceful universes. Yeah, that's one of the things that I really love, is that even though there's so much knowledge in the basic class, there's 3 days. That is all that Vina had channeled in the beginning, and it worked really well. So it's the vocabulary of things, and depending on who teaches it, it's really a different experience. I really love what you said, Vanya, that it's a class is an experience, a healing is an experience. So I love that everyone can have a different pace. Like, usually I like teaching in an intensive way because I feel like there is a momentum, and, you know, people who's hungry for knowledge, that maybe they're, you know, they just get habits. It becomes a lifestyle of thinking, well, I'm feeling this. Do I want to keep, maybe I can work on it. Right? Just this consciousness of, you know, this doesn't have to be in my reality. So it takes a little practice, a little nudging to be like, hey, do you like how you feel? When did it start? You know, it's very simple question. It's so basic, but it's so deep. So I feel like sometimes, you know, the discouragement, it's okay, because it just means that it's not the time for it. But like for me, I literally took maybe 4 or 5 classes in 2005-06, and then I didn't do it for years. But then when I felt ready, I felt curious, it was right there for me, and it was already part of my mentality. I knew that they were planes. I knew that you could connect. I knew that witnessing was a thing. You know, and even though I had done the intuitive anatomy, I was witnessing like a brick. I was like, I wanted to do a good job. And there was nothing back then that was so, like, you know, remotely healing, but I was learning things that would be, you know, very useful later. So there's really, I feel no pressure on, it should be the time is, I should have worked on it. You know, sometimes we can be hard on ourselves. So I feel like the opportunity for this work is living, right? And sometimes we're hungry because we are so needing of the knowledge that we want to rush with it. And sometimes taking a little time, recognizing, hey, this might be my last year at this job. And then just taking our time to see, and then, you know, it's a lot of people that are coming to study with me, I'm finding out that they knew from 3 years ago that they wanted to do the training. But it was, so sometimes people are not communicating, but they already know that this is for them. And so, yeah, just giving yourself grace, whatever you're at. It's such a supportive and altruistic community that a lot of time people ask, you know, do you mind if I come back to do, you know, this course? Can I come as an assistant? So usually what happens is people find out, oh, I actually know things. so then it's it's always this little energy of a soul family. And when we are together, when you find the momentum to be fulfilling or satisfying for you, just have fun with it. And there's no one way that it's supposed to be. That's why we all have very different energies and experiences. So your very personal experience with the technique and with your path is going to be what you decided to be. I'm just cautious because the one of the after effect might be great spiritual awakening, but let's not worry about it, right? It's just at first you're like, I have a boo-boo, I don't want this anymore, and you're like, yeah, let's work on it. But at the end of the day, you might just have a lot more ease with your connection to the divine. And don't worry about it, because it's if it becomes part of who you are, it's probably that it was meant to be like this. And don't compare yourself with other people who have big breakthroughs, because they have a different instrument. If you don't want a trumpet to sound like a violin, like it's just a different instrument. So I've had such reverence when you describe your story of the man who's in a coma. I had chills everywhere. I'm like, wow, I'm so proud and just happy for you. But this isn't something that I lived. So everyone has a different application of how the technique grows with you. And so, yeah, just take your time.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Naomi?
Yeah. So with all of these different classes, I'm just amazed at the changes that have happened with digging itself, which is the basis of the sessions that we do in Theta Healing, since coming in 2010, when there weren't really shortcuts. You just kept asking questions until you just knew that you were at the bottom belief, which is cool. And now we have these shortcuts, and we learn them in basic class now. And I love this. And the basic class, okay, that's probably the most important class, because you are learning these foundations of this wonderful technique, literally life-changing stuff in this class. And then I've always been really drawn to the more in-depth classes, the ones such as the disease and disorder, DNA3, planes, like the most advanced classes. I love those. And that's why I've been taking classes, so I could always get to the class that is the next one and the next one and the next one. So for newer folks though, I would just say that, like with what Flo was saying, give yourself grace, also kindness. So this is a very powerful virtue. And we're taught we just need to be kind to others. We're not necessarily taught to be kind to ourselves. Please be kind to yourself with whatever it is that you're going through. Talk to yourself like you would talk to your own best friend. If you're not doing that, please start. Okay. And also, speaking of communicating these different ideas that are so important from beginning to the beginning students to students further down the road. So recently, Vianna's daughter, Brandy, came out with this webinar on focusing your thoughts. And I've been giving this to students as homework. I just gave it to students in basic class this weekend for homework, and also planes class a couple weeks ago. And it's really important to remember, when we learn this technique, we can clear away blocks from our subconscious, things that have been holding us back and things that have been limiting us. So we get more of our brain power working for us. So it's working for us and putting that energy towards whatever we're thinking, whatever we're saying. So it is so important that we are aware of our thoughts and our feelings, and what we're saying and thinking all the time. Remember, cancel that. Delete that if it's something you'd rather not manifest, and shift over to what would you like to see instead. So that's with your thoughts going through your head. And of course, it's so important to do our self-work and our belief work. Look at whatever the situation is and anything that is getting somebody to feel stuck. Okay, it doesn't make us happy to have the awareness that we're getting something out of a difficult situation. But then on the other side of it, when we look at that, what do we get from it? How is it serving a purpose for us? How is it motivating us? We look at that, see if we've completed it yet, after also looking at what are we learning from this? And then we can move forward, complete the learning in that way. And that's probably one of my things that I just love so much about Theta Healing. Probably a favorite is the teaching that the learning through suffering does not have to be that way, that we can instead learn through the virtues, through our connection to Creator. So remembering that with whatever it is you're dealing with in life. And, these are times, just remember, these are some really, really, really interesting times we're in right now. So imagining how we might like the world to be different is going to be really powerful. Putting more and more of that energy out there can be very helpful. So out of the earlier classes, I'm kind of, between basic and you and the Creator as to which is the most important. Although basic, that's where you start. So it's super important for that reason. You and the Creator, that changed so much in my life, getting to take that class when it was first introduced, and also the instructor course. And it just keeps getting better and better, as do all of these courses. And over the years, just seeing how Theta Healing is evolving, it's amazing. And this is a really, really exciting time to be doing this work. And yeah, just keep working on yourselves. Never give up.
Thank you. Thank you. And indeed, I think back 8-10 years ago, my thought patterns and my self-talk, and when something happened, how I would go down to the spiral and create just more and more burdens and difficulties. And now how much more positive I am and how I redirect those thought patterns. So true, so true. Yes. And I couldn't wait for you to come back from Mexico to take the You and the Creator seminar. Drove for like 6 hours to North Carolina, I remember. So we do share that. Thank you so much for sharing, Vanya. So what were the challenges? What was the seminar that really, shifted things for you?
Thank you. Thank you, Naomi. You actually brought me to quite a lot in the memory lane. So I'm going to echo everything that you mentioned in relation to that. And I also sharing my experience, because when we kind of saying, be kind to yourself, that is that beautiful love from within that kind of comes out. But when Viana was saying that, or when someone was saying that, when I was starting basic, I didn't know what they're talking about. I was listening the words, but I was not understanding what that meant, because inside was a turmoil. Inside was something that I didn't even know what was happening. Hence, I just kept. And this is very important for you, just keep going, just to keep going. And you're going to go to the other side. To the moment in time where this trust inside that everything will be okay. And to this time where Juju mentioned that you enter like a situation of slight disbalance, but straight away you know how to snap out of it, because you know that you're a creator of your experience. Because if you choose that frequency to dive into the spiral, this is what you're going to continue creating of your life. So you're choosing different. You again have a session, have a break. But the main message that I wanted to echo back to from Naomi and Juja was exactly that. At the beginning wasn't, I wouldn't say easy. I just didn't know what I'm actually against of. All these things start coming through the classes, specifically in the intuitive anatomy class. One of, obviously, for some of you that may know, may not know, but this is basically a 15-day class that goes deeper. And as you are doing at least 1 or 2 sessions a day, you are getting really deep into your subconscious mind and healing. So through, like, somewhere through the middle, when we got to the heart, I got so triggered that I basically checked out. I didn't pass out, but I checked out. Like, oh my God, this is so much pain, so low frequency. I don't want to deal with it. Boom. So I was like in a state where I could hear people. I could speak very slowly. I could move very little. And that was the state that I entered. And this is the first time I realized, okay, this is how I deal with the low frequency then, because this kind of a pain, and it was very deep pain of a loss of a loved one. This was like the trigger at that moment in time. So obviously I came out of it, everything was fine, but it actually indicated for me that this is happening when I enter like a very deep healing state, at the time, of course, at the time. So when the Theta Healing Intuitive Anatomy finished, I wasn't finished. And thank God that DNA 3 was the next weekend. I didn't plan going, but oh my God, I needed more healing. So straight away, I didn't even call. I just, rocked up in the morning of the class and like, I need to be here, So there were several occasions where this kind of things start coming up, but at that moment I was consciously choosing to stay. You can heal this. So the reason why I'm sharing that is that no matter what pain is out there, I am the living proof that you can go beyond it, because you just need to keep going. One class going to shift one thing, another class going to shift another thing. You and the creator. Another thing I remembered when Naomi was talking was at the basic and advanced and the dig deeper classes, when there was a sessions, to show like the teachers actually doing a session with someone to show the class. I always wanted to remember what questions are to be asked so I can ask them in my session. Because my human brain didn't yet click that whatever is coming as intuition is actually what you got it from, but because my human brain was still taking over and trying to fix it, make it better. I just need to be good because these people deserve the best, etc. And it wasn't until you and the creator that clicked for me. It's like, oh, okay, you follow that wave. You follow that wave of intuition. You follow this. And I just literally relaxed. It was very beautiful. Another very big moment for me was during disease and disorder class. This is another beautiful class with lots of healing for 10 days, where there were two very major things that took place there. And first of all, during one of those sessions during the class, in front of the class, I released the fear towards any dark energies, because during that session, I realized that the dark energies were nothing else but the same as the light energy, looking for the love, looking for the attention, looking for the acceptance. So this was the moment where something clicked in me. And from this day onwards, the session I was doing to myself or to others were from a place of like freedom, braveness. I didn't fear what's going to come around, what's going to show up when I actually close my eyes and start, receiving the information. Because sometimes I would get like this very dark energy coming through. It's like, oh, what do I do about it? And from this day onward, I was just gonna welcome it. Hey, who are you? Why are you here? Show me, tell me about yourself. So this moment in time shifted quite a lot of the way how I was doing things. And the other magical moment that took place during that class was I was in a session with another lovely, wonderful lady. And I was stuck. I didn't know what to do. She was getting into a trauma. I was like, oh my God, what do I do? So the teacher was busy and I was like, okay. So I listened, go closer. And I was just, okay, can I hug you? I asked. And she was like, yeah. And at that moment, it was the most magical moment of my life, how I just literally felt how the two hearts came into one and that started beating. That trauma slowly start shifting. And it was like that beat of the two hearts at once was so magical. I just couldn't believe what was happening, what I was feeling, what I was witnessing. It was so out of this world. And I was literally walking on air for the rest of the day. You know, people on the troop when I was coming back would look at me, are you okay? I don't know what I was looking like, but I was like completely spaced out. So there were so many miracles that are happening throughout those classes. The only thing is like, just keep going. It's gonna get better. And actually, it's not about looking into how, you know, it's the moment when I'm going to feel better. It's actually taking the time to be able to experience the present moment. That class that brought you that magnificent miracle. That class that brought you so many beautiful, amazing souls with so many big, loving hearts around you. The guides around you, everything, you know, the environment around you. Take a snapshot of your present as well while you're walking on where you're going to be walking towards. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Vanya. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Marla, any
Sure.
challenges?
Thanks.
I know you
Yeah.
didn't have any.
No, that's right. Fun. Oh, so many. But you know, I think one thing I wanna really emphasize is that I think sometimes when people don't always keep going with theta healing, it's maybe because they don't understand the full value of what is available. You know, the value of the theta healing technique is really the gold in the technique that Vienna created for us to open up a theta brainwave, to have full awareness of how much love and light there is, right? And to feel the unconditional love of creator or higher power, right? And so sometimes we forget it in very simple terms how truly impactful that is. And the value of everything beyond that in terms of the courses is allowing you to continue to practice and expand that technique while releasing limiting beliefs in all these different ways and areas so that you can feel more and more full of love and connected, right? That's really what it comes down to. When you look at the courses themselves, the tremendous value that they are is not only the time and the attention, the practice, the opportunity to be with other like-minded people who you'll make amazing friends with that can love and support you for a long time, right? But it's also financially a great value for all of us. You know, for a course, if I teach a 5-day course, I encourage my clients to take that because it's a much better value for them to come be with me for a full 5 days than just a single session, and not a whole lot more money, honestly, when you look at that. So, you know, that's one thing I really want to emphasize. The second thing is when you understand the practice of holding a theta brainwave, it actually makes you smarter. It literally changes your brain chemistry, right? And so when you see all of these people out in the world that say they're trying to meditate, or they're trying to learn to meditate, or they're just trying to sit there and hope something happens through sitting quietly, right? This is a technique that in seconds, we can help a person get into a theta brainwave and feel the power of unconditional love and light immediately. In my world, that's a value if it only ever even happens once. It's life-changing if it happens once. And so, you know, one of the most incredible experiences I had is I've always been plugged into the business community and local business community. So when I was first becoming an instructor and using the technique, I got invited to do a lot of guest speaking engagements. And so I even created a workshop for business people where I would use the theta healing technique to take them into the meditation, to feel the love and light, and to do some manifesting as a way of introducing it to them in my business workshops. Through that, interestingly enough, I got invited and asked to provide a meditation workshop for some folks in AA, which if you're familiar with that, the whole premise of that is based on prayer and releasing old trauma and hurt to higher power. And so we did that technique with 60 people in the room. And the amazing thing was, after just walking them up into the theta brainwave using Vienna's meditation and just letting them sit in the light and feel loved and bring in a prayer for themselves of healing, I had people come up to me after that told me they had prayed for 20 years and never felt so connected, never felt so loved. That was, for me, one of the most impactful experiences I ever could have had, because I realized then the value of what this is and how simple it is. We don't have to make it complicated. All of us went on to get our certificate of science and continue on through DNA 4. And we're pretty big Vienna followers. I think we'll take everything that she launches for as long as she chooses to, right? But we don't have to make it that complicated. The most important thing is for people to just experience how loved they are and have the opportunity to begin to open that awareness. The technique itself is also of tremendous value, because when people come to us and they have limiting beliefs or trauma, like all of us have talked about having, in seconds, we can take them into that technique and shift the belief. And that is so life-changing. That's why I wanted to learn it if I was going to do coaching and consulting, even before I understood how much more was available, because I knew it was the fastest, easiest, most loving way that I could help people make shifts over everything I'd ever learned in business before that. And I had learned a lot of different things to do belief work. Okay. So I think that's the important thing, is to really understand the value of the technique and the simplicity of it. From there, taking the classes allows you to learn the basics and practice. That's the tremendous value. And so to me, if you're interested in really learning to practice it, the more time you get to spend understanding the planes of existence, how it works, why it works. If you take just basic, advanced, dig deeper, and you and creator, those first 4 courses, it's going to be life-changing. You'll be able to continue to work on yourself and your family and the people you care about and love for the rest of your life in a whole different way. And your awareness of love and light in your life will be so expanded. If at that point, so I would say, don't just take the basic, take all 4 of them, go all in, because it's really through those first 4 classes that you're learning the fundamentals and really understanding the depth of the connection to unconditional love and creator, and really developing the neural pathways and the competence to consistently hold that brainwave and open that awareness. After that, everything else is just icing on the cake for your healing and learning, right? And so to me, I think that it's so powerful for people to understand that the basic class is an amazing introduction. We'll get you there. We'll get you into that love and light and that experience. We'll get you in a theta brainwave. We'll help you open it. We'll help you learn some practice. But after that, practicing and then taking those other 3 classes is really important before you fully decide whether or not you want to continue on. Because if you've only had a basic or advanced class, you still haven't gotten quite to the fullness of what's possible, because you're still just learning the fundamentals. And so I think that's the value of it. Now, after that, you can start to make all kinds of different decisions. A lot of people will continue on taking classes because, like I said, if you're there for your own healing for trauma, it's a phenomenal value for your time and money. If you're there because you want to go on and make more of a career of it and certify yourself as an expert healer, that's also fantastic. You can do that. That path is available, right? And so, and everything in between. But I really, really would encourage people and all of my students to get through those first 4 so that you really can learn how to hold that theta brainwave, how to really be connected, and how to deepen the presence of love in your life. That's really, to me, the most important thing for everybody, is that they can just feel so loved and deepen and expand the understanding of that and how it works to help us in every area of our life. Now, if you ask me straight up what my favorite course was, probably world relations. I love to teach that. I love the relationship courses. I really do. I so much of my work is with money and relationships with people. And I love the relationship courses. So the you and significant other, soulmate, you and inner circle, world relations. Those are phenomenal if you're looking to take it the next level, to really deepen your connection with people and your family, right? And people that you can work with globally. It's amazing. So that's just what I wanted to share. But I'm really about keep it simple. And just know that if for anybody that's learning this technique, if you can even get into that theta brainwave and feel that loved one time and help someone else do it one time, you've already changed the world.
Mhm.
Oh, thank you. Beautiful.
Thanks.
Such beautiful words. And yes, well, I even tell people when they intend to take a basic, if you're not planning to continue until you and the creator, maybe I'm not the teacher for you, because I want that commitment. I want them to actually take it until you and the creator. And for the same reason, because that was the seminar that finally shifted things for me as well. And I've taken it like 4 times, I believe, until it really shifted. So that's the other thing that I recognize with people. So for example, there are 2 seminars specifically directed right to the relationship, the soulmate and you and your significant other. So, okay, you take the soulmate seminar and you take the you and the significant other seminar, but your love life had not shifted, then there's more work to do. Just because we checked off, taking those 2 seminars, it doesn't mean that then everything is healed. I mean, it means that maybe you need to review, maybe we just go through the manuals again and keep working on it, because there is still something that is holding you back. So yes, indeed, you and the creator was a huge shift for me. It finally allowed me to do belief work easily and with the flow, because we dig deeper, a little bit like Vanya. I wanted to be so analytical. What do I ask? Who, where, what? And I would disconnect, and I was doubting myself, and it was more stressful than than in a loving energy. So you and the creator did shift that. But the huge change was the bridge with the intuitive anatomy. I mean, I remember taking that seminar and the next day receiving a call from a company I applied, for a job 9 months prior and hiring me. And like things were so noticeably changing that it was just like, wow, what's happening? Like really those 3 weeks of immense and intensive belief work. So intuitive anatomy, amazing. And if you add it together value-wise, I always say, there is the 4 foundational classes plus intuitive anatomy. We are still talking less than $4,000. And I'm not going to say words. And this is the US price, right? I mean, accordingly, in other countries, the price is different. But I go to, without saying, these famous coaches, you go for a weekend, you sit with thousands of people for the same amount for 2 days or 3 days. Here you get a month, over a month, because 15 days plus 10 days, 25 days of personalized attention in a community where you truly make some amazing connections and you heal the traumas that have been indeed controlling your life until those seminars. And with the love, I would like to add that the one thing in common in people, in these 7 billion people that are we are sharing Earth with, everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants to be loved. Everybody's searching for love. Everybody's searching for the way to express that love that we are. And each little pattern that we are functioning from is just from a little child trying to get love or attention. It's just a woman who was betrayed trying to look for love and attention. So it's always just one aspect of an unhealed self trying to get love, right? So that's why all these seminars are amazing. I share your passion, Marla, with the World Relations Seminar. It opened up the world for me. I think for even abundance is one of the number one, because when you build relationship with all the type of people, you open yourself up to be able to receive abundance from all those people that you've been rejecting and refusing until then. So the relationships, and they are all fascinating. Yes, yes. And then the DNA 3, just magic. So they are all amazing. And yes, my encouragement is the same. Continue. Repeat, go through the manual again, read the book. I mean, the basic book has every single seminar in it in one book. Just talk about, maybe soulmate, there is one page, then there is the whole seminar for it. Then about manifestation, there is a couple pages, then you have a whole seminar. But in the basic, there's so much. And I think the third time I read it, I was like, no way this page was here before. So as your awareness opens, your consciousness, you're more open to the information that's in it as well. And the books are a huge support, and there are more coming out. So very excited.
You're so right. Thank you for reminding me about DNA 3, because I remember when I was a little kid, I'm going to date myself now for anybody that remembers, there was a show that they used to run in the United States called That's Incredible, where they always had people that could do all these interesting things. And I remember a guy on there being able to bend a spoon. I thought that was the coolest thing. I was little and I'm like, someday I'm going to be able to bend a spoon. But DNA 3, right? What a cool class where you actually start to learn how to move things with your mind. And it's just the neatest thing. So thank you for reminding me too of the fun of that.
Yes, you learn amazing exercises, how to move things and locate and all these interesting exercises. I just started a week ago, so I'm still in the energy of it. But the main objective is being able to manipulate the illusion that we live in and shift our realities in seconds, truly. So amazing seminar. But I think we're supposed to talk about the first 4 levels today. And then next time we will be talking about other seminars more in depth. But let's talk a little bit about the basic, the advanced, the dig deeper, and the You and the Creator seminars. And then we're going to take some questions. I have a lovely helper, Anna, who will be reading the questions and sending me over some of them so we can respond and answer, and questions are welcome. So basic, let's start with basic seminar. Anything else to add about the basic seminar?
I want to start. I mean, in a way, I feel like I already talked a little bit about the basic class. And so there's one sentence that Vaina keeps sharing, which is, all is not what it seems. So sometimes what I see in sessions or people who come to study with us is that there is this notion of validation, or, oh, now I know that it has been there. And it's easy for us to share a story because we have 24/7. We've been alive for a long time. And then you have this one moment. And so it's just an experience that we had that may be interesting for you or inspiring. But the fact that you didn't have all these moments for yourself, it doesn't make you less of a human, It's just to guide us a little bit and to open up our mind to what's possible. So I think it's really important to recognize, that all is not what it seems. And that's just what I wanted to say. The first 4 classes, it makes us be able to walk. If you have a baby that's crawling, you're getting and you're like, okay, I understand how to be with consciousness. And for sure, we are in this 3rd dimension. So we want results we want numbers with our companies, or we want to feel the love in our couples. So it's easy to be really practical about it. But as you were saying, you know, some of us is sharing, it's just the universe within me is completely different. And the other thing that I want to tell you is sometimes we already have made very good decisions. So sometimes when we're starting, there is this energy of doubt that keeps coming, you know, either in a session or with what we have chosen in our lives. But, you know, I would argue, or I would make the premise that maybe your soul has made some excellent choices already. You just don't know it yet. So you might be in the right place. You might be in the right couple. You might be already in the right field. It might be perfect that you have this job that you don't have because of the stability that it provides while you decide to have it. It doesn't, so don't be too attached to the circumstances, because the choice may have been made for you in the way that prepares for the future. You have no idea. And what it is that sometimes we don't know what's happening next because we don't want to know because we're too scared. So as we open up, we have more awareness with what's actually the you know, if it's a game of life or a game of like, this is what I'm into, right? It takes time to recognize what really aligns with us. So for us, just remembering that we are so hooked into that theta healing knowledge, like we're also, that's why we connected. But your thing might be something else. It might be that, you know what, I'm going to compete as a triathlon athlete and I got it. And so if you needed a couple of theta healing seminars for you to recognize that this gives you so much joy and it makes you feel alive as a human and you vibe with the people who are into this competitiveness and stuff, then it's okay. So, you know, you again don't need to compare with other people's experiences, because it's all about what you get to find out about yourself. And the last thing that I want to say in terms, if we think of this experience of sharing on Zoom, is the notion of encouragement. For those of us who are starting to teach and stuff like that, you know, sometimes, you know, when you put your business in place, you know, maybe there's one student or maybe two, and then kind of like the kind of thinking that it creates. I loved it because in DNA 4, and I was saying, sometimes you guys have been teaching, but there's members of the different planes. And then I started to cry because I was like, oh yeah, thank God it wasn't for nothing. And I was like, and literally you teach on Zoom and sometimes you could feel it, like you're like, you know, there's this Art Tatum Records, the pianist, right? And it's like God is in the house and you're really teaching and you're connected with people all over the world. But sometimes you could really feel this energy. And for me to know that even sometimes where I decided I'm going to teach this person, it's just one person, I'm going to teach them, but to know that maybe there's beings from different planes that were also benefiting from the knowledge and the experience. It gave me a lot of like solace, because I didn't have to feel guilty about doing things wrong or being rushed, or so all is not what it seems, and it's about you finding your path. Yeah.
Beautiful. I like to say something about this. It's not everything is what it seems, right? How about you just ask what else could be here happening, right? When you already, something happens and you make a judgment what's happening, and just challenging your mind, even not even need to connect to the creator, just challenging your, what else could be happening here, and come up with another 2 options, you know, and maybe those other 2 options are slightly better than the first one that you came up with. And that can also shift things. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. So basic seminar, anyone else would like to share something?
Sure. So what you had said earlier, Zsuzsa, about retaking classes and rereading the book, this is really powerful for basic, again, because also what you'd mentioned earlier, Zsuzsa, that, and that's something that had stuck with me from years ago, is how all of Vienna's seminars come out of that one book. And each time we do look at it again, we are going to get something different, because our brains have changed. We can see more, we can hear more. After everything that we learn, it opens up more. So retaking different classes is very powerful. And even if you're going into a class because you think, oh, well, this is the name of the class, so it's going to change this for me, be open to it doing something completely different than what you expect, because you might get something even better out of it than you expect. This is, and I love that some of you have mentioned the world relations class. There is a bit of that, the starting of it in basic, where we do the forgiveness for ourselves for any prejudices we have had in our lives. And, you know, even if we're the person like myself growing up in an area where there's a lot of different walks of life, a lot of different income levels. So I thought, oh, well, I'm so open-minded because I've been around all these people before I graduated high school. What about your ancestral beliefs? What about your genetic beliefs? All these other beliefs you never would have thought of. And it's just really incredible what these different classes can do for us. In basic, we do cover so much different material and the healings and the belief changes. So being able to change beliefs, this was the most powerful and empowering thing for me. And even what we call the Band-Aid belief work, pulling the limiting beliefs and bringing in the helpful beliefs until, you know, things had changed in Theta Healing and more of the digging shortcuts were presented. We were able to learn this for a long time. I did find the Band-Aid belief work to be really helpful. So know that if you don't have much time, if you got to get through the day, just clear some beliefs, give yourself some downloads, get back to it. But then really focusing on what we learn of digging, using that is so powerful. Changing our belief systems, each belief we change, so much in our life changes from it as a result. And you are making a difference with that with other people. So yeah, just from this first class, so much in your world can change and in other people's worlds.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Vanya, Marla, anything about basic before I say something?
Sure. I think, again, you know, I always like to go to the simplest solution, but one of the tools you really learn in basic is how to connect so deeply with higher power and ask for help and guidance. Right? That's one of the most powerful things we learn in basic is how to actually make requests, and that we can, and that they're going to be honored and fulfilled. And I think that's one of the simplest and most important things in my life every day, because I don't know how to do a lot of things. There's so many things that I do every day that I've never done before, that I have no idea how to do, that I'm presented with. And just from the basic class, I have the ability to immediately take my brain in, go to creator, go, okay, creator. I have no clue what I'm doing here. How are we going to do this? Right. But I know how to do that because I learned that practice in the basic. And so I think that becomes a tool that is invaluable to apply to every area of your life anytime, and to know that immediately you can feel instantaneously that love and that light, and know that you're supported and you're helped, and you don't have to do it alone. And that is the tool that we spend a lot of time learning in basic. We learn so many other cool things too, but that's the flow of the practice throughout the basic class, is connecting and asking and connecting and asking and connecting and asking, and then being able to practice actually witnessing the changes so that we bring them into this reality pretty immediately.
Thank you. Thank you. Vanya, you have anything to add when you're teaching in basic, or what do you think you can add to about the basic seminar?
I'll echo some of the already said things. For me, the basic seminar practitioner was a bit of a blink, as it was so emotional, as well as like it was so new, and it was new at the same time. Oh my God, I already know that. So it was a bit of a blur, but once I actually started doing the instructor class, things actually start coming together. Oh, okay. the thing that I wanted to add is actually going back to the basics. The books of Diana Steibel, which thank God came on Audible because I'm not a huge reader, but I'm an amazing listener. So I tend to listen to them like hundreds of times already, each one of them. In one of them, she was exactly talking about the history of theta healing and how it came about. And it was about this instant healings that were actually happening at the very beginning when people just like, start walking, start seeing, her foot got healed. And this was the moment where basically things started. And it wasn't after when Ayana actually asked, okay, how come that some people are healing and some others don't? Where basically the belief work start coming through and understanding that our subconscious is holding this for a reason, and we just need to know why in order to actually shift this reality. So saying that is going back to basics to remind ourselves that although the digging technique is an amazing tool to be able to go deep into whatever we need, but also to remember that it can just happen as an instant healing. And I remember Viana mentioned on her seminars where she would just do an instant healing as soon as like the person comes through. And sometimes the issue will be resolved like within seconds, or just a very minor belief work will be needed. So just a reminder of how beautiful and amazing it is for the prayer, for you to be able to bring that image of a healthy state into that reality of the person for them, in a sense, or like with them, just as an instant healing. And there's so many miracles that are happening in that class. I traveled for my a basic instructor to Switzerland, and I had a minor accident which apparently became a major on the way in. And the first day I basically had, I was thinking one of my little toes broken, and I was barely able to step in. It was a funny journey, but anyway, the first day I'm sitting on the first row, and 2 hours into the course on the first day, Vanna say, you, and I was like, me. And then how I end up, limping to the stage. We did like an exercise, a small exercise. It wasn't even a session, it wasn't even a session. And I left the stage without pain, without swelling, nothing. So it was that moment when you're realizing that you're actually experiencing the miracle, and those 120 people in the room experienced that miracle with me. And I was like, whoa. And that was the power of the instant healing. Sometimes we tend to go, to understand it better because that's how we are wired to understand it. But you always need to remember as well that it could be as easy as that, because the thoughts are creating the reality. The frequency that you hold within are creating the reality. And the moment that you remember this, how simple and easy it is, you can shift and change within seconds. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, beautiful. I like to add a couple of things. One thing is that I like to remind people that after basic came out, there was only basic for a very long time. I remember taking the advanced seminar, and that was someone who was a basic teacher for 12 years, and that's all she taught. She was actually living by only teaching basic seminar. So basic has so much content. And the other thing that I would like to talk about, and she was healing people and she was teaching it, and people were healing only from basic, right? So there's everything in the basic that you need to know about healing and applying the technique, even before going to the advanced seminar. The other thing I wanted to say is, I remember taking the basic seminar, and first exercise is to scan, right? And I remember I scanned someone and I explained all the things that I've seen. And even the teacher was like, wow, I've never seen anyone scan like this. And everybody felt bad because they didn't see the things I saw. And it's a very important concept that I was visual, but somewhere auditory and some were kinesthetic. So to understand we are so different, even how we perceive the information, how it comes to us, and really not go into the comparing game, because you're just going to make yourself wrong. You're going to judge yourself, your abilities, your skills, your talents. And it, of course, now I hear it, I see it, I feel it. Now that expanded, because everything expands, especially if you use it. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the better you get at it. But I always tell people when they come to the basic, try not to compare, because your talent is not comparable to someone else's skill, and vice versa. All right. And said that, advanced seminar. So the advanced seminar has hundreds and hundreds of downloads, which are amazing, and really teaching people emotions that they might have never experienced in their life. And there are some extraordinary exercises like the healing the broken soul and baby in the womb that are also so healing, that we are advised to use those exercises each time someone comes to us and who hasn't been exposed to theta healing, or who is suffering from an illness and sickness. So the advanced seminar is really wow. But I would like to hear your thoughts about the advanced seminar. What can you add about the advanced seminar that could benefit our crowd?
I can go next just because. So
just because you're first.
Just because you made me, like, you just like, whoa. So it was funny when I started teaching, because I didn't realize that I had blockages to teaching that class, because I kept testing, no, I'm not afraid, from my ego, right? I was very consciously, no, I'm fine, I can do it. But the truth is, I had such, like, it was so important, like honor for me, because it was like, who am I to offer this spiritual awakening? I was young. Everyone I was teaching was older than me. And so the thing is, it's a really, really delicious class to teach, because every time we get to reread, reshare live all of these downloads and virtues. And I can say, in terms of my maturity as a person, the elegance, the sacred, all of these things, it's not stuff that I had in mind or I watched on the TV. Like, I could say that Theta Healing has really honed my personality to be a really kind human, or I mean, at least I'm working on it. And at some point when we started to introduce, these relationship classes, I could see that some of the people were starting to think, in the Theta Healing community, it's so basic, it's so simple and stuff. And I'm like, I'm not above kindness. Like, I still have so much to learn. So it's so rich, this advanced DNA thing. And now I'm all right with it. But the truth is, it was such a big deal for me to teach it the very first time.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Advanced seminar? Marla?
In the advanced seminar, we really learn how to change a feeling or how to create a feeling. And the value of that is, it's astounding when you work with people to realize how many people don't even have the receptor sites for some feelings. If a person is really born into a lot of suffering or hardship, they may not have ever had the feeling of joy ever in their life. And because of that, they don't even have the receptors for it. And the value of that is that we can very quickly and almost instantaneously allow for that feeling to come into their body for the first time and actually create a pathway for it where there wasn't one before. And that is life-changing, right? And so the thing I'll tell you about advanced is that I've had a couple of experiences that affirm the value of that for me. One is exactly joy. I've had a number of people over the years that I have found were just absent that, and we've been able to download it. It really, but I still think I took it for granted because it's just what you do in that class, right? Like there's a part of you that starts to take it for granted because that's just kind of like, oh, that's just what you do. This is just learning the technique. But then I was working with another coach who was telling me about a client that she had been working with for months that had had a tremendous hardship and had never experienced joy. And she's like, I think I've almost got her there. We're writing affirmations for months. And I'm like, and then it hit me, the value of advanced. In seconds, we could have shifted that in seconds. And then I'll tell you the second place that I had tremendous learning of the value of it was I was running a women's business networking group up here in my local area. And during that time, I really had a philosophy. Once we put a meeting on, even if we didn't know we were going to have a lot of attendance or something happened, I still showed up in case, because if one person showed up, I didn't want to be alone. Well, we had a weird thing here. There was a school shooting on the day of our meeting in our local area. And I went to be there, but I really didn't think any of the women would show up. Over 20 came in. And it was a very close group of women. And of course, everybody came in deep grief and shock and trauma of what had happened. A lot of the women that came out that night had children that went to that school where the shooting had been that day, right? And I was sitting there, and I'm supposed to be the leader of this group, right? And I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, creator, I have no idea what to do. Like, obviously, we're not going to do a regular business networking meeting, right? So I was like, what do I do? And I got really clearly, let's do a healing prayer. So we put everybody in a circle and we went into the theta healing prayer and meditation. We brought in peace and we released shock and trauma and we brought in forgiveness and we sent love to the families, to the police officers, to everybody in the community, right? And because of that ability that I learned in advanced class, we were able to create a profound shift. Had I not had that technique and had the ability to receive guidance on the best and highest way to help in that moment, I wouldn't have been equipped for that in the same way that I was. And we wouldn't have been able to create so much healing and so much love as a group. And so that to me is the power of it, is that you can actually shift a feeling, or you can create one where one never existed before in a really beautiful and powerful way, because again, it's coming through that unconditional love energy. And so I've never since taken an advanced class for granted that it's just that it's just learning, the fundamentals because of that.
Yes, very nice. Indeed. Some people don't understand the importance of the receptors that were created in our childhood and how we are feeding those receptors in our entire life, because it's like brain candy for the cells to receive that emotion. And well, I'm one of those people who had a very, very traumatic childhood. By the time I was like 16, I had it all type of abuse. And even recently, I was trying to manifest something and I heard creators say, you don't have receptors for that. So bottom line, we can't create something we don't have receptors for. So we need to learn what that feels like in order to be able to manifest that and create it in our lives. And indeed, those downloads are very, very powerful. Okay, dig deeper.
Wait, I want to talk about
advanced. Well, she was the only one put up her hand when I asked. Okay, Naomi, just waiting patiently.
Yeah.
Advanced seminar, please share.
See, ladies, Marla, is usually to your point about creating receptors. The downloads in advanced class are also extremely powerful for the live without downloads. So we can close off the receptors to different kinds of pain and suffering that's no longer needed. Also, what I love about all these downloads is sometimes, and this is a great class to repeat because you can never get these downloads too many times. And sometimes it can bring up issues to be worked on that are very important life issues to clear. And if somebody isn't sure about what to work on, this book is an excellent reference. Hopefully you get the book from taking the class, or you can go out and get the book and look at all the different downloads. And maybe that's a good place to start your digging work. The other thing that's amazing about all of these downloads, it's 244 lifetimes of learning virtues. So the same as going through all those lifetimes, all those many, many lives, excuse me, on this planet, you can get that in a class. So that's what those downloads offer. And they're not just downloads of good things. So depending on how familiar with theta healing you are at this point, you may have heard of virtues. So virtues are key for so many things, in manifesting, with our healings, with living our best lives, with connecting to the laws in the sixth plane, working with them when we learn more about it. And just, it's such a huge part of theta healing. So this, even though I love mentioning it in basic, advanced is where we really get the feelings of all of these virtues. And that door opens up. And all of the other exercises in the class, you know, just come in so beautifully with what we learn in basic. So after basic, of course, you're a practitioner, you can do a session. You've got the guidelines in the back of your manual, suggestions for that. But really, with everything you learn in advanced, it's so much more empowering to do even more for yourself, anybody you're working on. The other really cool thing about advanced class is learning that second way of remembering your future, of looking at what happens in the future. And way more than that. And
you. I like to quote Vaiana to finish up advanced. So Vaiana says, basic is like the A, B, and the C. And then advanced is the rest of the letters to complete the ABC. And we're still not at forming words or sentences. So dig deeper. My thought about dig deeper, I'm just gonna share it quickly. I think I've taken that seminar 4 times, and as I said, I was very analytical, trying to get it right, doing it perfectly, and getting lost in it for sure. But those amazing different digging ways of digging are really the foundation to our sessions, belief works, even 10, 18 years after, right? So the Dig Deeper, it's a amazing seminar that was introduced a bit later. So before you could do just basic, advanced, and then go to some of the older seminars like Soulmate, Manifesting an Abundance, and then Dig Deeper became a requirement and a prerequisite, and of course for a reason. So about Dig Deeper, tell me, guys. What do you have for us?
Just
I was so happy. Oh, go ahead.
No, you can go.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was thinking to share that because sometimes I translate the teacher trainings for the French language. So I'm a lot in these first classes, and I can say that depending on what generation teacher you take the class with, the stuff is explained differently. And also depending on what country the person you're studying with, the digging styles get explained differently. So it's really not a rule. It's more a proposition. Take a look at this. But literally the way that the knowledge is being shared is evolving. And so it's important to find somebody's way of communicating that works for you, that resonates with you. Because the technique works, you know, especially after when we do an intuitive, and is a lot more fluidity. So it's just to anchor your knowledge, to organize your subconscious as a practitioner. And then, you know, it's I don't know, I feel that there's, those are kind of like the foundation of how it works, but then it's really more an art form, how everyone is going to dig the way that they're meant to, and that's okay.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. I always encourage students to try other teachers. There will be teachers they will connect more, that they can relate more, that they like more. But yes, different teachers and different styles are definitely something that you will find in the Theta Healing community and world for sure. Naomi.
Yeah, I was super excited when this class came out, because when I first started learning the classes, learning Theta Healing, we didn't have Dig Deeper all those years ago. Yeah. And then it came out, and then it wasn't just a class you could take, it became a class you had to take to either become an instructor or stay an instructor. So I was really happy about this because, you know, understanding digging is so important to everything. And when I could, like even in basic class, I used to love to show Vianna's digging video because it was in person. It was easy to do that at the place where I was teaching in person. And it's something that anybody can order, Vianna's video on digging. So I would, in the basic, I would, you know, show the video up to like the manifesting, because that was in the manual. And then when I got a chance to go to take the UN Creator class in Mexico, when she had first taught it, I really wanted to tell her, like, thank you for adding this in as a prerequisite. This is a really, really great thing. And I mentioned that I had been, you know, teaching the digging a little bit more than just the fear and resentment. And then I was just so happy to let her know that. I was really happy that it's now something that we have the class for, that we now have these different structures of digging on not just the fear and resentment, but really the 9 and 10. So in UN Creator, that was like the 9th digging shortcut. And now it's been clarified in the Dig Deeper book that we have for 9 and 10. So looking at the life issues and then looking at the virtues. And that's really powerful. And the class just really brings all of the digging information together to get somebody ready for the UN Creator class and then the classes beyond.
Thank you. Marla.
So just in case we have people here who are listening in or who are watching this who are new to Theta Healing technique and don't know what digging is, simply it is learning how to ask, it's asking questions to learn about the source of what's needing to heal from the person that you're working with, right? It's really learning. Digging is just asking a series of questions to gather information so that you know the best way to recognize how to help with the healing that's needed. And so the skill set that you really learn in Dig Deeper that I think is applicable again to every area in your life is you learn curiosity, you learn to listen, and you learn how to ask the right questions. And asking the right question, whether it's of a person in front of you or God, is very important. Right? Because the answers that we get can only be as good sometimes as the questions that we ask. And so I think the real beauty and the real gold of Dig Deeper is you get several days to really practice. You're taken through a whole beautiful guided way, as Naomi mentioned, with a manual and a book on, I think it's up to 10 or 12 different ways that you can ask these questions to get the information to help guide you to where healing needs to go. And also it's for the client as well. It's for the client to help them become more self-aware and learn more about themselves. And so developing that skill set of both of you being able to dig in and see what's really there that we can help and shift for them, to learn about the person in front of us, to listen and have them have a chance to really be heard as we're asking the questions, and to practice curiosity. You know, many years ago, one of my business mentors said, interested is interesting. And if you think about that, for all of us, sometimes the people we think are the most interesting are the people that actually just listen to us. And I think the tremendous value of the Dig Deeper class is you learn how to become, you learn how to begin to become very skilled with that. And whether you continue to utilize it, which you always will in your theta healing practice, right? But you can use that then in every area of your life, including helping to deepen your relationships with the people that are already in your life. So it's just tremendous value in that course.
Thank you. Thank you. Just want to remind the audience that they are able to ask questions because we're going to have a little time to answer a couple of them. We are already an hour, 50 minutes in, so I think we should move to the You and the Creator seminar. That's all. I think all of us, one of our favorites, and it was amazing when it was coming out. And my personal experience was I heard about it. I was going to Mexico to take it because when Vaiana comes out with a new seminar, right? She teaches the practitioner seminar as well. So I really wanted to be there, and my green card arrived one day late, so I couldn't make it to Mexico, couldn't take the practitioner class. And then Naomi came home. There was no manual, no book, right? Everything was lost before Vaiana traveled to Mexico to teach these relationship seminars. All the data was lost, and she was basically from memory and from some notes teaching the seminar. That's what I heard.
Actually, no, that was later classes. For You and Creator, we did get the manual. It's evolved though over time before we got the book.
Okay, well, I remember we did not have a practitioner manual when we were, and you sent us just an email with all kinds of things that you made because there was no manual, and book, definitely not. That's what I recall. And I heard her actually talk about this story as well. So I don't know where the the different information is, but that's my recollection from it. However, it was like, wow, that seminar, that with 5 questions, I can uncover anything and everything and find the benefits and find the virtues and learn the lessons. And it was like doing belief work before was like step down, step down, step down, step down. And with the You and the Creator, I felt like a tornado shifting, you know, when I was applying that. So it was a huge shift in the belief work and in sessions. That was my experience. Until today, still fascinates me how the different levels of subconscious are communicating. Well, even in a session setting, or, you know, recognizing those voices in my head and identifying where is that coming from. Maybe I shouldn't listen to this one, you know. Maybe this one just wants to be survival, to survive, and so on, or that's fear. So it's really giving a lot of clarity to all those questions that were difficult for me to comprehend before that seminar. And I give the word to Flo. No, Marla.
Yeah, I think the biggest question that we consistently get asked by new theta healers is, how do I know the voice that I'm hearing is a creator? How do I know what I'm talking to? And this is the course that really takes us through and helps us understand and identify that. The other thing is, I don't know about you guys, but personally, I had a lot of problems with God. A lot. And I'm comfortable saying that. You know, I grew up in a very interesting religious background where in the type of religion that I was raised in, God was often presented as a punishing force, right? I was taught as a kid in Bible school, the Bible stories about, God turning women into pillars of salt and like horrible things. So for me, for a long time, and one of the reasons why the theta healing technique was easy for me to embrace was because initially I could handle the idea of creator. I couldn't handle the idea of God the way that I had grown up with it in the perspective, right? I remember, we were taught a lot in the story about Job in the Bible, how he broke out in boils. And, and the story actually wasn't about God punishing Job. That was the way it was taught. It was actually about Job not being able to let go of his fear.
But the point is that in the You and Creator class, I started to be able to release my limiting beliefs about what God was and the misperceptions I had of what that energy was, and really deepen my relationship and understanding of what Creator is, as well as knowing when I was hearing the voice in my head of my own egotism, right? Or my own survival self or my own higher self voices, really knowing when I was getting the prompting from that still small voice of love and Creator. And so I think that, again, the reason that we're recommending that if you're going to start a theta healing journey, at least take these first 4 courses, is because this is the course, the final of those 4, that really brings it all together for you to be able to deepen that relationship. And wherever you go from there with your spiritual journey, the support that this class offers to help really continue that is just amazing. And so for me, I love it so much because I was able to release all those old perspectives and misdefinitions and misplaced assignations I had about God, and really understand Creator as the pure loving energy that it is.
Thank you. Good point. And it used to be called You and God, and then it was changed to You and the
Triggered me
Creator.
so badly when I was first taking it too. Yeah, I don't want to take that. I remember when it was called You and God. That's when I took it. Oh yeah.
Great point. Thank you so much. Yes, and our relationship to Creator, to God, it's forever expanding. And for sure, this seminar was a game changer. Thank you. Flo, Naomi, Vanya, anything to add about You and the Creator seminar?
I want to be mindful of time. If we have questions, maybe we don't want to.
No questions yet.
But the one thing that is interesting is when you keep teaching the class, it feels like it evolves. And I feel like the class is a 2-day class, but really it should be 4, yeah, it's really interesting how the relationship we have with the material in each class, it can sometimes grow on us, and depending on who's attending or what's needing for them, it's going to have a really different overtone. So I'm always just, I have a lot of wonder of what's happening. And, I mean, I recently taught that class where there's a lot of people who were very technical, or at least they thought they wanted to understand really this undercurrent, and is this the ego or the higher self? And I finished the class, and I was like, but did I even talk about God? Like, did I bring them enough? So it's really fascinating, the fact that we really have to trust that the information that's being shared, the curriculum of the entire Theta Healing training is very structured, and everyone goes through the same exercises, but it's going to be an experience. It's going to be depending on what's needed today. And sometimes some things trigger us, and that's what's ready to heal. It's actually a good news that something feels a little resistant. So it's just fascinating how every time the same course is shared, it can be very different for me.
Very. I mean, the energy of the teacher is different with the different participants, bringing different energy, and every seminar is unique and definitely different. And we are not the teachers. Creator is the teacher. We are just the instrument of giving the information to the people that were drawn to our energy. So it's a very good point. Thank you so much.
I wanted to very quickly kind of just bring my well, it's more like a idea about those 4 classes. So if the basic and advanced, it's like the infusion of the DNA, the bones, the nerve system, and everything about the body of the theta healing within us. Basically, this is more like, if you think of it, of course, me being the energy baby at the start when I started, the basic and advanced is like probably about the first 1.5 year of the development of a little child. And then dig deeper, being the moment when they start potentially crawling or like start walking a lot more firmer. They would, fall here and there, but then that firms up a lot more. And then the actual UN Creator class is more of like the child of like 3, 4, 5, where they actually learn, oh, okay, I'm a human now, I behave this way, etc. And after that, any other class is basically the growth, the adolescence, and being like that beautiful freestyler, I should say, embracing the journey of creation within yourself in your unique way, as everyone is unique and everyone has an amazing, unique path, and that is so magnificent. It took me a long time to understand how come that everyone is unique, but once you get it, it's amazing. And you really, really embrace it. It's so good. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of bring this kind of idea of those 4 classes being the base of like the ThetaHealing creation, in a sense of like a baby, how it works, gives that base to then basically freestyle as further as you go along.
Thank you. Thank you. Very, very different perspective and all true, of course. Thank you. Anything else about the You and the Creator seminar?
Yeah, so I love what Marla said earlier when we were talking about dig deeper, the listening part. That's so important. And I'm talking about that when explaining digging, that we're listening to the client and we're listening to creator. So yeah, that's the easy part, to listen to the client as you're going through the classes. And that's the thing that people ask about though, with listening to the creator. Well, how do I know? So the class is, of course, so powerful, You and Creator, for helping people in not only practicing and doing the different exercises for understanding where the voices and information may be coming from. What I really love, though, in addition to that, is the deep practice in the self-belief work, even if it's with another student assisting you, because this is huge. When we're in a class with other practitioners, we're going to get digging practice. We're going to get someone else looking at whatever we've got going on from their perspective and offering solutions. Life, though, we don't always have that luxury. Sometimes we need to do that deeper work ourselves. And yes, in the Dig Deeper class, we do have the section on the self-belief work, and depending on the students' experiences, maybe they got to do self-belief work in basic and advanced, or maybe not. In You and Creator, not only do you get more practice with that, it's so much more empowerment to be able to do that on one's own, which is huge.
Yes. Very good point. Definitely was the shift for me. Even though after advanced, I healed my lower back, after that I was lost. I could not do digging on myself until the You and the Creator seminar. And yes, self-belief work, it's very, very powerful. And well, you always have yourself at disposal, right? So it's if I don't have money, I can still do it. If I'm busy, I can still. So it's always there. Very good point. Thank you. Marla, you were gonna say something?
Oh, I think that I love what Naomi said. That's it. Thank you.
Very good. Very good. So
beautiful. I love what everybody had to say about it.
Yes.
I love what you all have said too.
I love what all of you said as well.
I know, it's amazing. You guys are amazing.
So I invite us to offer some downloads for the people that are listening, or maybe even do a little theta, whatever you're guided to offer for the audience. No questions. Marta is asking for her cat Missy to send unconditional love to Missy, because it's been gone for 2 days. But other than that, we didn't really have a question to share. Okay, so
I have cat assistance.
Yes, the cat assistant right away came in to help Misty.
That's right. I love that.
See, Marta, there is some energy your kitty is drawing. She's there.
As I said, I just taught the DNA3 seminar last weekend. One of the muscle tests is, on any level, I get disencouraged with theta, and well, how interesting, even after getting to DNA3, you might still have that. So I will definitely would like to offer something about that, but I will let you guys go first, please. And we have a question. Can the ego stop us from practicing theta?
If you let it.
The ego can stop us from anything and everything. It's our wounded self that indeed is functioning from obsolete patterns. So
and it's also fabulous when we were a teenager and we're like, oh, this is who I am. Look at, I'm important. So it's also great to have this path of knowing that we can be self-empowered,
A balanced ego is very, very beneficial for sure.
And there's quite a lot of ego tends to be connected often to more of a less positive, or I should say sometimes way negative kind of a remark when somebody speaks, is the energy that you put behind that word tends to be in a negative mode. But as Diana says, your ego is your amigo. So being able to be a friend with it, to be able to look at it on a positive side, to be able to, when you talk about the ego, not needing to feel that, oh, egoistic ego, horrible, or like any of that kind of a sort of a slightly less positive. This is where you're in a good place if you manage to get to that point. To be able to have your ego as your amigo.
I like that. Yes, not your enemigo, it's your amigo.
Like in other spiritual teachings where the ego is diminished or made out to be something bad that we're supposed to get rid of, in theta healing, it's a totally different perspective where we just need to have it working for us and have it in, like the other ladies have said, in a good, healthy balance.
Yes, because the unbalanced ego wants everything for nothing, right? And the balanced ego is very contributional.
Yeah, and again, it's that kind of idea that even if we go to the site where we may have been imbalanced in the ego, it's still okay as long as you know about it, as long as you recognize it. And there's no wrong or right way how to live your life. So if you go into unbalanced ego, as long as like, oh yeah, well, maybe I can be like this for like a month or two, or for a day or two, or for a week or two. I allow myself to be this without needing to criticize, oh, I should be better. No, you're just the way you are, and you're experiencing this for a reason. And just like move beyond it as soon as you're done with your learning and lessons.
In my experience, my ego was my enemigo mostly in romantic relationships, and really surrendering to the love instead of trying to be right all the time. So preventing from theta, unless it feels like it knows everything and knows it better than than this technique can actually offer, then it could prevent one for sure. But let's send the healing to that ego. And
yeah, I love it because we're talking and I'm hearing like everyone is like, we gotta download, like, and it's coming through through really wise advice. But this is so cool where it's like, I love sharing a download because it's like, hey, you want to try this? And then you try it and you're like, yeah, this is more easy. So would you like to know the creator's perspective that you can make your life easy, that it's possible to receive love that it's possible to embrace all of what you have built already, but you can still know the next step forward, and that you can have joy and you can cherish your relationships and people can support you on your path. And I don't know who wants to continue to share.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Just show you that you matter, that everything you've ever been through matters, that every experience, all the parts of you, everything within you, you matter.
That through the Creator, you remember who you really are, that you can see yourself as the Creator sees you, and know that you are loved by the Creator, and that you do radiate the love of the Creator, and that you are making a difference.
Vanya?
The downloads that are coming through are in more of a pattern of like infusing and reminding yourself how beautiful soul you are, and what we usually refer as a creator or God that might be slightly perceived as separate than us is actually the God we are, the creator we are. So it's like remembering to infuse that power within us, that we can shift and change our reality. Remember to allow ourselves to remember what it felt like, what it feels like, to be able to create our life with joy, with ease and gratitude and grace, without any longer choosing low frequencies to be present in our experience for learning and lessons, because we can now see this beautiful creation that we are, that we can create from that point onwards.
Beautiful.
And also, just to add one more that came through, to allow ourselves to remember and to be able to remember what it feels like, that if we don't have a goal or like know what's the way forward, that's okay. To be in that space of peace until we actually understand and know how to follow the guidance and move forward, and always move forward with peace and grace. Thank you.
Beautiful.
And so just know that if you say yes in your mind or yes out loud, wherever you are to receive these, we're witnessing them coming to you and through you in unconditional love.
I'm just going to be very quick and short and impactful, hopefully, so that you know how to practice and evolve through the Theta Healing technique without discouragement. And how to tune into your higher self for guidance, which seminar to take next, and how to follow this path with ease and grace. Very good. Thank you so much. So I would like to also share that this video will be available to review in everyone's personal channel and the business channels as well, right? And
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Did I know I was sending unconditional love to the cat? Would we like to do that as a group before we finish up?
well, how
Yes.
about sending everyone who will watch it, who are part of the Global Theta Group, to all our students, to all our clients, and to all our future students and clients as well. So for the whole Global Theta community, sending unconditional love.
And to the whole, all people in the world that needs it at this moment in time, or will need it in the future.
Of course. And may every path find their home back, find their way back home, and heals the highest and the best way. Beautiful. That we may understand that everything and everyone has a divine purpose, and there's always a lesson and a virtue to be learned from everything. and really being open to that. Thank you so much for coming to this first event. Hopefully more to follow. We are open to your feedbacks. Hopefully next time there will be more interaction and more questions, and we are going to talk about probably the relationship seminars next time.
Yeah. And also, ladies, I want to thank all of you, Flo, Naomi, Vanya, Zhuzha, for sharing so many amazing perspectives. You opened up a lot for me today, each of you too.
Thanks.
And it's so beautiful to be working with you, and that we can help each other and lift each other up and support each other. And thank you to all of you, and thank you to everybody who's participated. We just love you. I love you so much. Thank you.
Very grateful. And there is more of
Yeah.
us, just many of them were teaching today or had traveling, so they couldn't attend. But we are a group of the people who met or reconnected at the DNA4 seminar in Hawaii. And the next event might has some new faces, hopefully as well. So thank you so much. Take a note of the names and follow us, and reach out if we can help you with anything. Thank you for being here. Thank you for making your time, your valuable times, and coming here to create something from unconditional love.
Thank you for organizing this event and your extra efforts for this and getting this group together as well.
Thank you, and thank you, Flo, for also so much help. And one person thought we'll talk about DNA4. Well, we will talk about DNA4 in
Getting
a few
there.
minutes. Yes, I do have 4 videos about it on YouTube, if that's something that they might be interested in. All right, so until next time, thank you so much. Hugs and kisses to everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Still recording.
I stopped recording, stopped the live.